Now that you're fluent in Java, the most essential skill to add to your toolbox is refactoring. Refactoring. Probably heard me going on about it. Let's define it. Refactoring is changing the structure of your code without changing its functionality. So it's kind of like tidying up. And I personally do it constantly. Every time I'm writing code, I refactor all day long. Now, why do we want to write good code? Well, there's more reasons, but I'm going to give you two. First of all, you want your code to be easy to build upon. So usually what happens is a customer asks you for something, and then you build that. Then they ask for something else, and then you build that again. But in between those two steps, you usually need to clean up the stuff from the previous go-around before you add new things so that you can build upon it. And the way customers keep changing their minds all the time, it's pretty essential. Okay, second, we want other people to be able to read your code. So you want to make sure your code is easy to understand. And sometimes the first way you write it is not the most clear. Sometimes when you're writing code for the first time, what you're really trying to do is solve the problem and you don't have a very good clear picture of what it's going to look like. That's something that kind of evolves as you go. So it's kind of like the more you understand a problem, sometimes the better names you can give to things or the better structure to support whatever it is you're building, it sort of emerges, and refactoring enables that. Okay, so I'm going to show you some code. We're going to refactor some code, and I'm going to show you my top 5 refactorings, and I have them up here as to-dos because I'm down in the bottom of Eclipse. It will show you, if you put anything with a to-do in front of it, it'll put it as a kind of a to-do list down here in the Tasks tab. So I'm hoping to get through all of these. Okay, the code that I'm going to be using is from one of my favorite students. She's pretty much all grown up now, I think, but she made this game. The code, I don't know if you instantly got a feeling of whoa when I opened this, but if your intuition is on, then you should see here a lot of unencapsulated member variables. There's probably too many of them. There's a whole lot of dead code in here. This is what we call clutter, because it's cluttering everything up so you can't really see the wood from the trees. Here's more clutter. Here's a method that doesn't do anything. And this is Ella's code, but in fairness to Ella, she was 11 when she wrote this, so let's not give her a hard time. I'm going to play it. It's kind of adorable what she made. She's a very creative little type. So the idea behind this game is it's kind of like a Where's Waldo. You have to find all of these things, snake in a ring. I've been playing around with it and I managed to find at least the diamond. It's down here on this dude's pants. See, it's matching in there. And then when you click on the thing, it'll disappear from the list. So that's Ella's game. And your exercise is going to be to refactor that. Now, the important thing to know about refactoring is you always want to try and make sure when you're refactoring that you're not breaking things. If you're refactoring and you're making it worse, we call that refactoring. That's not really a real word. It's just kind of like me and my friends. Refactoring is when you're trying to refactor something, but you actually make it worse. Okay, so here's Ella's game. It's got a couple of classes here. I'm going to go through and show you my favorite refactorings using this project. But one other thing I wanted to mention is that you can see in here there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit is stuff that's easy to refactor. And like low-hanging fruit is like, you know, deleting that method. Did I already get rid of it? Because I probably automatically got rid of that method that wasn't doing anything. No, but there we go. Bye. Bye to you. Low-hanging fruit. Bye to you guys. Laters. Yeah, so I think I'm going to start, but I want to show you my top 5. I'm going to post this link also so you can have a reference. Because you're going to be refactoring so much, I'm going to encourage you to learn some short keys. And the reason I have a picture of a hand here is this is what I call refactoring fingers. Your refactoring fingers are your index and your middle finger because all the refactorings start with the keys Control and Alt if you're on a PC, and Apple and Option if you're on a Mac. So if you can kind of like right now just sort of hover your fingers over those 2 buttons, you can see why I call those refactoring fingers, and that'll make it easy to remember your refactoring shortcuts. Okay, so I'm going to try and do each one of these. Okay, the most important one that I use the most is rename, method, and variable. That you use the R with, so you use refactoring fingers and R. So I wanted to like clean up Ella's game just a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so here we have the game class. Oh, there's a lot of things in there. I thought I might do some renaming. Okay, so here's something about naming. This method is called level 1 buttons. But in general, for method names, if we can, we want to use the form like verb, noun, like that. So you have a verb first, and then you have the bumpy text, and then you have the noun. So a better name for this, level 1 buttons, I'm using my refactoring fingers and R there, might be create level 1 buttons. Now when I hit enter, it's going to fix all of the situations where Ella was calling that method, and it's going to do it automatically for me. That's a safe refactoring, so at this point I don't feel like I really need to test the code because all I've done is a rename. Okay, so there I've renamed a method, and now I'll just show you how to rename a variable. Well, this is fine. She's got her name for the game potato, but that's not super professional, so I'm using refactoring fingers and R to rename the variable. I'm going to call it Ella's game instead, and that's going to update just that one spot, but if it was in more places it would update all of those. Okay, that's the first refactoring, rename method and variable. I'm going to remove that with my short key, Control D, and now I'm going to show you inline local variable. Alright, so I was looking around in here, so there's this create level 1 buttons method that is, immediately you can see there's a good bit of duplication. So your pattern matching sensors should be going off. A lot of this is the same. So I'm going to try and remove the duplication. First, I have to pick out the things that are not common among the duplicated blocks. The first thing is this string, which presumably is the name of the file that holds the image. Okay, so with my refactoring fingers, I'm going to do Control, Alt, and L. That's going to extract a local variable for me, which I'm going to call file name. Okay, so you see what I mean by extract local variable? It's taken that and it's put it into a variable here. The next thing that is different among these is that. What is that number? I'm going to control space so I can get an idea. Okay, it's an X. That one's bigger than that one, so I think it's the position. It's probably the X position of where the balloon's hidden. Alright, so I'm going to extract local variable there, and I'm going to say X coordinate. I'll just call it X position. Make that, and then I also need to do the same with this one. Now for the next 2 parameters, it looks like it's always 30, so I'm not going to worry about those for now. But I do want to put all the stuff together that I pulled out, so I'm using Alt and Up to put that at the top. And now I'm going to extract the rest of this into a method. Am I going too fast? I think you guys got it. So I talked about extracting local variable. So that was actually this one. And to do that, I was using refactoring and L. Okay, so now I'm gonna extract this method, and I'm gonna use refactoring fingers and M for that. Now I need to give it a name. What is this doing? It is create level 1 buttons. Balloons, creates a J button, seems to be adding. I'm just gonna trust that she knows what she's talking about, so I'll say add button. It's generic now because I'm planning on reusing it again. Eclipse has figured out that I wanted to pass in those 3 things. So that's great. That's exactly what I wanted. That's extract method. Extract method. Donezo. Let's see about removing the actual duplication here. So now this is going to be pretty hard to use an automatic refactoring with. That means I want to test the game to make sure I haven't broken anything. Alright, so first I'm looking at what this code does. And I'm going to make sure I understand what it does. So I saw the diamond, so I'm going to just grab this. This is the thing that I'm going to work on. So I should, yeah, that's good. Pull it up to where I've done my refactored version. Because I could sit here all day looking for something other than the diamond. I know where the diamond's at. So let's just make sure I can see the diamond. It's on that dude's pants. Yep, down there. If I click it, it goes away. Cool. Now I'm going to remove that line to see if I'm in the right spot. Just take that add out. No diamond. Okay, that gives me a certain level of confidence that the area I'm working in is manually testable. Okay, so now I'm thinking that this is all duplicative, so I'm going to copy these, a version that's going to be for the diamond, and then I'm going to copy the stuff in here. You're going to show up at 315 and 900. Okay, I'm going to just comment this out for now, and here I'm going to call my method just the same as I did in the previous block. Okay, let's see if we get the diamond. Okay, the diamond's shown up in its spot, so that refactoring didn't break anything terribly, so I'm going to get rid of this crud. Okay, this is a quick refactoring. Actually, I probably should have put the try catch also in the method. Now I'm seeing that. Should I do that now? I'm gonna just leave that for possibly you guys should do that because I want to move on. So that was extract method, and I removed some duplication. Now I'm going to show you how to inline a local variable. This works quite perfectly. Okay, so when I was showing you extract local variable, this is its antithesis, I guess, the opposite. So you inline with the, I'm going to show you from the menu first. So the manual way to do this would be to go here, refactor, and click inline. Yes. So do you see the way it's inlined the number for me there? But the rest I'm going to do real quick with my refactoring fingers. And then I have that. Might as well because it feels kind of good knowing the shortcuts. Okay, that was inline local variable, refactoring fingers and I. This is a favorite of mine. I'm hoping I've got a spot to show you. So, sorry, what I'm looking at is extract method from conditional. A lot of the time this makes your conditionals a lot easier to read. You just gotta have to have an if statement here for checking those, whether I've clicked the right thing. Yowza. Aha, okay, look at this. All right, so here we have an if statement that's checking check me, check if all these things are true. So what I can do is select everything that's in there and use extract method, which is not a new shortcut. It's just going to be used in a different way. So refactoring fingers in M, extract method, and I'm going to call this check found all. I'm reading her message here. Congratulations, you found all the pictures. So I think that's what that if statement is doing. All right, so check found all. That's converted that to a method. And then the code, where has it gone? It has jumped down to here. Check found all. So I think that's a whole lot more readable. That was an automatic refactoring, so I don't feel an intense need to test it. Okay, that was extract method from conditional. Now I'm going to just recap a few things. So that's probably a lot of information actually, even though it didn't take me very long. These skills are so essential. Trust me. Don't always trust me, just trust me on this one. Okay, I'm going to do a quick recap. Refactoring fingers. Index, middle finger. Okay, so the shortcuts for a PC are going to be Control and Alt. And then for a Mac, it's Apple and Option. And that's where your refactoring fingers go. My favorite ones that I showed you, which are pretty common, are rename method or variable. To do that, you add an R to the previous keys. To extract or inline a variable, extract is an L because it's extract local variable. Inline is pretty obviously I, and then extract method. So that's a real quick intro to refactoring. The idea is that you leave the campground cleaner than the way you found it. And you should be doing it all the time, constantly refactor, clean as you go. That's a motto from McDonald's, where my friend Marty worked back in the 80s. That's what they always did, clean as you go. Second, always test. So just to make sure you're not refunctoring, you should test your stuff. And you've got two methods of doing that. One, manual, is what I showed you here. Unit tests are obviously the best way. If you have your unit tests covering your butt, then you're going to feel a whole lot safer when you're doing your refactoring. And third, do it in little steps. Don't refactor a whole ton between doing your tests because you don't want to break things. All right, your exercise, you may have guessed already, is to do a little bit of work on Ella's project here. The purpose of you guys doing this is I want you to just get some fluency with the tool. I don't need Ella's game to be perfectly refactored. I would be happier just to have you learn the short keys for refactoring. Trust me, it's a small investment now, but it will massively pay off because you'll be using it all the time, and also you'll look cool like me. Sorry, that was supposed to be ironic, but it didn't sound ironic, did it? Anywho, so I was saying that Ella's game doesn't need to be perfect, but it is important that it would be much more important for you to use your refactoring fingers and practice with those and get to a point where you can sort of feel confident that you know where to find those short keys. Yeah, I think I told you already that there's a lot of different refactorings, and I focused on my top 5 and the ones that I think that you'll be using the most. The more advanced ones, I have optional exercises for those in the optional folder. If you get really into this, I actually got pretty into refactoring when I was learning programming, and there's this book about it by Martin Fowler. This is the seminal book, refactoring book. Yeah, this one, that one. I still have that in hardcover. Anyway, so I think you have enough information to go and refactor Ella's game. See you later. Bye.